how far will you go in the name of blind faith? And why is it that logic forsakes all those victims who choose to listen to the words of a controversial figure and worse, act on it? Officials in Kenya are finding themselves in the middle of fresh criticism. There is renewed outrage after 32 bodies have been exhumed in southeastern Kenya in the past week. This tragic development is linked to the same Christian sect that was blamed for deaths of over 400 people back in 2023. Now, the government then had vowed to crack down on extremist sects after members of this so-called doomsday cult died.
Today we have recovered, we have exhumed 7 bodies and also collected 54 body parts, which are spread distances away from the graves. So they look like they were spread by excavated and eaten by wild animals.
Kilimanjaro, from where these 32 bodies have been recovered, lies around 30 kilometers from Shakahola, where prosecutors allege that cult leader Paul Mackenzie had ordered his followers to starve themselves and their children. Mackenzie made his followers believe that they could go to heaven before the world ended. The commissioner of Kilifi County, where Kilimanjaro is located, said that 11 suspects have been arrested in the case. Relatives of people who joined Mackenzie's cult now find themselves waiting again for DNA tests that could tell them if their loved ones are in fact among the dead. In 2015, 8 members of William Ponda Titu's family had joined the cult. The bodies of 4, including his mother and one of his brothers, was found in Shakahola back in 2023. 4 of them remain missing, and the family thinks that they relocated to Kilimanjaro.
My brothers and I have been raised in the Christian faith, but compared to me, the two were really deep in the faith. I would not know how it happened that they found themselves too deep in this.
The latest discovery reconfirms fears that the cult might still be active. In April, Kenya's Interior Minister had claimed that Mackenzie was actively communicating with his followers from jail using a mobile phone. Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who faces charges of murder and terrorism, has denied all the accusations against him. He was arrested 2 years ago after hundreds of bodies were exhumed from a mass grave on his land. The dead were thought to have been members of the Good News International Church. Now, it is believed that they were persuaded to starve themselves in order to reach heaven. Mackenzie, the founder, claimed that he has closed down his so-called Good News International Church sometime around 2019, after nearly 20 years of an operation. His sermons, his controversial sermons, some of which were available online, shed light on what the starvation cult leader preached. In some videos, kids were seen delivering messages to the camera. Others culminated in exorcism, in which followers, often women, writhe around on the ground. In one such video, there is a reference to an upcoming preaching event by Pastor Mackenzie in Nairobi. This is from January 2020. Now, this video, in fact, contradicts his claim to having ended his preaching activities in 2019. Former church members claimed that they were forced to fast as part of their adherence to its teachings. Now, though there is no clear, direct evidence that Mackenzie ordered people to fast, but he did ask followers to sacrifice what is dear to them, including their own lives. In 2023, he was quoted by a Kenyan newspaper weeks before the bodies were found in remote Shakahola forest, and I'm quoting him here. There are people who don't even want to preach about Jesus. They say their children are crying because they are hungry. Let them die. Is there a problem there? Those were his exact words. He believed that idea of formal education is satanic and is used to extort money. In 2017 and again in 2018, he was arrested for encouraging children not to go to school as he claimed education was quote-unquote not recognized in the Bible. The self-styled pastor Mackenzie also condemned education for promoting homosexuality through sex education programs. He also encouraged mothers to avoid seeking medical attention during childbirth and not to vaccinate their children. Much of Mackenzie's preaching related to the fulfillment of biblical prophecies about Judgment Day. He posted about the end of the world, impending doom, and the supposed dangers of science. Kenya's authorities have suspended exhumations at the suspected cult site to prioritize autopsies and DNA identification of the remains that have been recovered. Officials are urging families with missing relatives to provide DNA samples to aid in identifying the remains. As relatives of those who have gone missing continue to wait haplessly, the probe is on. Authorities are working to determine the full extent of the cult's activities and the number of victims involved. Human rights groups have time and again called for stronger government oversight of religious organizations. Now, Kenya is a deeply religious country. 85% of the population identifies as Christian. The president, William Ruto, who is a devout man himself, has described the head of Good News International Church as someone who did not belong to any religion. But the question is, why did his practice still go on for so long?